Hey, welcome back to Livin MN Outdoors. I'm Daniel, and thanks for tuning in to another fishing report. Before we dive into this week's fishing report, just want to touch on a couple things, guys. With the ice roads opening up to vehicle traffic, just want to remind you, keep your speed 10 mile per hour or less. We only got one shot at keeping these ice roads good this season. So keep that speed down. Whether you got to drive 5 miles out or 10 miles out, you just got to go slow. Don't be in a rush. Don't wreck the roads for everyone else. If you use any of the guides or resorts mentioned in today's report, please let them know you saw them on Livin MN Outdoors. And with that being said, let's dive right into this week's fishing report. We're going to start off this week up on Lake Winnie. I talked to Chad from the Pines Resort. He told me they have a minimum of 13 inches of ice. They are going to be allowing half-ton trucks pulling up to 21-foot wheelhouses, and then they will be allowing 3/4-ton gas trucks, but those trucks cannot be pulling anything. If you want to pull out houses bigger than 21 foot, you are going to have to dolly those out with a side-by-side, and you will have to bring your own dolly because the Pines does not have one. Now, as far as the fishing goes out there, the walleye bite had been a little bit slower when this cold snap hit, but it is starting to pick back up. The best depth to find those walleyes right now is in 16 to 21 feet of water off the edges of humps or on the edges of flats. Now, the best ways to catch those, smaller jigs and plain red hooks tipped with rainbows or fatheads. And then as far as jigging, smaller buckshot spoons or tungsten jigs tipped with a minnow head. Now, the best colors right now, gold, green, perch color, or pink and white have been really good. So that is what I would recommend using. Now, as far as the perch bite goes, those perch have pulled out of the shallows. They're out mixed in with the walleyes now in that 16 to 21 feet of water. You can catch those basically the same ways as you catch the walleyes. If you would like, you can downsize to a tungsten jig with a plastic larva or wax worms, and that will work as well. Now, as far as the panfish bite goes out there, they are still getting panfish in shallow, 6 to 10 feet of water. In the weeds and on the weed edges, they're catching some really big bluegills and some massive crappies out there. So if you want to target those, try that 6 to 10 feet up in the weeds. Now, as far as the pike fishing goes, they're catching pike anywhere from 6 feet out to deep 24 foot. Doesn't seem to really matter. They're going to bite whatever you put down. If you want some bigger ones, try bigger sucker minnows. Or if you'd like to give spearing a shot, the Pines Resort does have some spear houses. You can call them, get one of those booked, and try your hand at spearing. Now, if you are looking to get up to the Lake Winnie area, the Pines Resort, they do have day houses. They have a couple sleeper houses that are available this coming weekend. They have cabins. I believe if you want to get in them on a weekend, they do have some weekends available still in February, or they do have some midweek availability as well. The Pines Resort, they also have a full bar and restaurant, heated fish cleaning shack, live bait, on sale and off sale liquor. So whatever you're looking for, they can help accommodate your trip and make it a huge success. So if you're looking to get up to the Lake Winnie area this coming weekend or in the future, go ahead and call Chad from the Pines Resort. All right, now moving over to Leech Lake. I talked to the guys from Horseshoe Bay Lodge. As far as ice right now, they have a minimum of 13 inches. They do have a little more than that on their ice roads. And by this weekend, they expect to have 14 to 15 inches of ice everywhere. Now, as far as their vehicle restrictions, they are going to allow half-ton trucks pulling up to 21-foot wheelhouses, or 3/4-ton gas trucks pulling single axle wheelhouses. And if you want to pull out a house bigger than 21 foot, you are going to need to dolly that out with a four-wheeler or a side-by-side. And Horseshoe Bay Lodge does have a dolly you can borrow. Now, as far as fishing goes out there, the walleye bite, there is 2 different areas that they are finding walleyes. That general 18 to 23 feet of water off the edges of humps. That's where the majority of people are fishing, and they are finding some success out there. But the best bite has been in 8 to 10 feet of water, and people are catching some really nice limits of walleyes out of Horseshoe Bay Lodge in that shallow water. Now, if you're not sure where to set up for those walleyes in those areas, stop in at the office. The guys in at the office, they want nothing more than for you to catch a ton of fish out there. So pull up a map. They'll help point you in the right direction on where to set up and try and make your trip as big of a success as possible. Now, as far as how to catch those walleyes, dead sticks are key out there, fatheads, rainbows, and then as far as jigging, big glow spoons tipped with a minnow head, pink and yellow or red have been the best colors, but make sure you're glowing those often, and more than likely you're going to pick up some beautiful Leech Lake walleyes. Now, as far as the eel pout bite goes out there, they're catching those along with those walleye on that deeper structure, that 18 to 23 feet of water. The eel pout tend to like those steeper breaks, so if you're specifically targeting them, find those deeper breaks, and that's where you will find the majority of those eel pout. Now, as far as the perch bite goes out there, they are catching some really nice perch in 18 to 32 feet of water. They are kind of confined to certain areas out there, so if you want to target some perch, once again, talk to the guys in at the office and they will point you in the right direction. Now, the best bite that's happening on Leech Lake right now, the tulipy and whitefish, they are on fire out there, anywhere from 24 to 32 feet of water. Small tungsten jigs. Some people are running a bigger spoon up above their jig just to attract those fish in. Tip those jigs with a plastic or some larvae, and you are going to have a blast catching those tulipy and whitefish out there right now. Now, they are also catching some really nice pike out there. They're catching them in shallow, they're catching them out deeper. Doesn't seem to really matter all that much. If you want to target some of them bigger pike, maybe put down a little bit bigger sucker minnow, and you might catch yourself a massive Leech Lake pike. Now, Horseshoe Bay Lodge, they do have hotel rooms available for this coming weekend. They do have a full bar and restaurant. They have a hot tub, sauna, pool, whatever you could ask for. They can help make your trip a blast. So if you guys are looking to get up to Leech Lake this coming weekend or in the future, go ahead and call Cam or Courtney from Horseshoe Bay Lodge. Now, if you guys are looking to book a guided ice fishing trip up on Leech Lake Guide Team LLC, they are running trips out on Leech Lake and the surrounding area up there. Whether you want to target walleye, whitefish, tulipies, pike, panfish, whatever it might be, go ahead, get in contact with those guys, and they can put you in contact with the right guide for the species you want to chase. So if you're looking for a guide trip, go ahead and contact Leech Lake Guide Team LLC. All right, now moving over to Mille Lacs Lake. I talked to Jeff today from Castles Resort. They have a minimum of 15 inches of ice inside of their boundaries. They are allowing out trucks, I believe up to 3/4 ton trucks, maybe even possibly 1 tons. They are not going to allow out any more wheelhouses this coming weekend. Right now they are reserving wheelhouse traffic to season pass holders and by reservation only. If you want to get out there in your wheelhouse in the future, I'd go ahead, shoot them a message on Facebook or give them a call and reserve that as far in advance as possible if you want to get a spot. Now, as far as the fishing goes out there, the walleye bite still is pretty strong. It has become primarily a night bite out there, and they're catching those walleye in 2 different areas. They're getting them in 10 to 14 feet off of weed edges, or they're getting them in 18 to 23 feet off of break lines. Now, as I've said before all winter long, the key to catching those walleyes out on Mille Lacs Lake is small sucker minnows. If you go to the lake without small sucker minnows, you are making a huge mistake. And then on your jigging line, jig a rattle bait or something loud, draw those fish in, and then they are going to eat those small sucker minnows. Now, as far as the perch bite goes out there, there's a gazillion of them little perch. anywhere from 8 feet out to 24 feet. There are some really big perch mixed in as well. The best way to sift through those smaller ones is to run a dead stick with a big fat head, and you're more than likely going to pick off some of them big perch. Now, as far as the pike bite goes out there, they're catching some massive pike still. They're getting those in 8 to 14 feet of water. They're putting down big sucker minnows for them, and the people out there are having a blast catching trophy pike. Now, Castles Resort, they do fill your propane tanks if you need it. They do have some wheelhouses available for rent this coming weekend out on the lake. If you do want a cabin in the future, they do have some cabin availability, not this weekend, but in future weekends, and they can help accommodate whatever you're looking for up at Mille Lacs Lake. So, if you're looking to get up to the Mille Lacs Lake area, go ahead and call Jeff or Kimberly from Castles Resort. Alright guys, well that's going to do it for this week's fishing report. We really appreciate all of the overwhelming support that we've received this season. If you guys could continue, hit that like button, share the video out with your friends and family, subscribe to the channel, or follow us on Facebook. We do leave all of the resorts and guides information down in the description, so if you'd like to get in contact with any of them, you can find that down there. If you guys would like to send in pictures and be featured in next week's fishing report, you can send those over to our email, livinmnoutdoors@gmail.com, or send them to us through Facebook Messenger as well. Now, we hope you guys make it out fishing. Remember, do not leave your trash on the lake. If you see somebody else's trash, pick it up. Be respectful of other fishermen. Don't crowd your neighbor. And most importantly, don't forget to get on out there and get living.